Star Trek. A future of wonder, of peace and acceptance. Technology that has moved beyond the fantastical and accepted as an eventuality rather than a possibility. Imagine a galaxy full of moral quandaries, ethical dilemmas, logic, horror and cruelty, hope and compassion. This is Star Trek. Alien races sculpted around our own characteristics, a lore spanning nearly 60 years. Movies, games, TV shows, comics, novels, animated shows, and there's no sign of this franchise slowing down. It seems to challenge every discrimination and bring it blinking into the light and show you that we are all one people, that we can be the best version of ourselves, and we can inspire those around us to achieve the impossible. But anyway, here's two fucking idiots to talk about it. Hello. After 20 years, I've gone Callum Povey. Look at him in his beautiful outfit. Look at him.
I've got a wig.
He's got a bloody Vulcan. I almost said Russian then. A Russian wig. A Vulcan wig.
I've got one
pip because you're an ensign.
I've got my intercom.
Communicator, but sure, that's fine.
Sorry.
Well, what I'm going to be doing, Callum, I'm going to be scanning the high seas and space for information on strange new worlds, new life and new civilizations and all that, Callum. So I'm going to be scanning for your bullshit.
New fans
Because, as previously discussed, I said that I wanted to get Callum on a video talking about the new series of Star Trek New Worlds, as it is the highest rated Star Trek season
of all time.
Show, I think it is of all time at this point, yeah.
In
with
my eyes,
the original season following that. So, first things first, you enjoying it?
Yes.
But thanks very much. I'm glad we went to all this effort.
This is probably the most successful Convince Cal. And it's not even that series. So
yeah, I could have made a bit more effort on it. Maybe
you should have done. Really, I mean, this is a lot of effort.
This is fine. Yeah.
Now, during my exploits, we've watched the first four episodes. Of Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
I made some notes, and I
brought a textbook to test Callum.
Just test some knowledge.
This is the Star Trek Encyclopedia.
I even did some little doodles of Pike and stuff, and I've wrote Gorn equals bad, and then a little sad, angry face. Well, we can. What I'm going to be doing as well is just randomly, I'm going to be throwing random questions at you. I'm going to be saying, "Quick, Callum, what's a Gorn?" A Gorn is a alien bad guy. Sure. And it breeds on a planet. That's that's true. And it's got it's got some previous stuff with La'an. Very good. And there's a little nod in there as well of La'an Noonien Singh. Extra points if you can tell me who Noonien Singh is. She's from Next Generation. Nope. She's from Deep Space Nine. She's not she. That person is from Voyager. I mean, you went literally around every one of them except the one I was after. But the original series. No. Discovery? Next Generation. It's literally the only one. I said Next Generation. That was the first one I said. Did you? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, arrange your badge properly. You look a mess. But he's the guy who built Data. Oh, right. I don't know. So that's... But also... no, sorry, not... Dan needs to consult his book. Yikes. Well, Khan Noonien Singh. That's why these notes come in handy. Well, you know, in the new J.J. Abrams ones... I do. Benedict Cumberbatch, he plays Khan Noonien Singh. And he's an augment because, like, as in Star Wars, there was the Clone Wars. In Star Trek, there was the Augment Wars. And it's basically just like, as a bunch of... they were like, hey, like, genetic engineering, yeah, we can do that and sort that out. Let's make all these people that are super smart and super strong and whatever. And then the super smart, super strong people went... Yeah, we want to be in charge now. Yeah, we don't need you. Yeah, exactly. So they just rebelled and then killed a whole lot of people. And Khan was one of the bad ones, like a real bad one of those. Is that the film? Yes, but it's also the second Star Trek film. So back in the day, And it is one of the best ones. Like it's a really solid picture. But he's also in like the TV show as well.
Wasn't there a big old thing where they was going, Benedict Cumberbatch isn't Khan, you crazy heads?
Well, they called him John Harrison, which is just some bullshit name. And then they had a big old thing. But
the scallywags.
Yeah, I know.
What's that costume? That's just a bloody puffer jacket.
These are all like the original spacesuit things. I know you can't see any of this, so apologies. But I'm just looking for
recipes. This is just a cookbook.
I'd like to think that there was a...
this wig's so itchy, Dan.
Well, you've got to keep it on, mate.
I know.
You've got to keep it on, that's the deal. Now, where is... I'm looking for data. Who built data? That's what I'm after, Callum. There we are. Data. Blah, 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 blah. Noonien Sung. Sung. Sing? Sung? I was close enough.
Sing-sung.
Good old sing-sung.
Jolly good sing-sung.
So, sing, bad. Sung, good.
That's an easy way of remembering it.
There you go. You're all welcome.
You're making...
So, we've watched 4 episodes, as you say. I don't think you need to know a huge amount about the universe and the lore and anything like that to kind of get your head around what's going on and who's who and what's what.
That's the beauty of this show. I know nothing about Star Trek. Well,
that's a lie.
I know some things about Star Trek.
That's a very much lie.
But I'm just gonna go off because I'll be honest. I know how well the quiz is gonna go.
I might just make up more appropriate questions rather than quiz you from the book.
But my very first point, and this was based on, I haven't put timestamps in, which I do wish I had, but within the first few minutes, already a better feel than Discovery.
Right, now, is that from episode 1, you mean? Like when Pike is just sort of like bearded and cool?
Bearded up, and then there's loads more, but when he's all bearded up, having his breakfast, and he goes off on the horse in the snow. Now, I've got some more comments on about that later.
That's very cool, because like it's also like in Star Trek Generations. I won't go into it in a huge amount of detail.
What's that?
I will. It's a film. Basically, it was the film that was like, oh my god, it's going to be the Next Generation cast. And it's going to be the original series cast coming together. Oh my god, what a And it's only Picard and Kirk that ever kind of cross paths.
Oh, I know. I do know the one you mean.
But in that, when there's they go into like this space thing, which is like I'm simplifying this for Callum, by the way,
because I'm an idiot.
Well, it's just that if you go, okay, well, this is a space ribbon and it travels and it's manipulated by gravity and whatever. Yeah, okay.
Let me just consult my notes.
Beam out, please. But if there's so basically, it's like if you go into this thing, it's like it's. I think the way that they describe it is like being wrapped in pure joy. It's like it's like a heavenly kind of like, oh my god, this is everything's perfect and it's wonderful and blah blah blah. So in that, Kirk is in a wooden hut, like on a ranch, cooking eggs for his missus, and then goes off riding a horse. So I was like, oh, is that like a kind of a cool? Is that like supposed to be like his house or whatever?
I think
like,
this is just what captains do on the time off.
They just ride on horses and Ben Affleck it.
Yeah.
Because he's just Ben Affleck Batman, isn't he? Just in a big puffy coat, riding about on a horse.
I have put a... where are we? It's quite far into my notes. Mike should have kept the beard.
I feel that that's not a Starfleet issue. I think that whole thing would have to go.
I think it's more of a personal preference, obviously, being a bearded man. But he looks
I think
far
I
more
could get away with it, but only in the Mirror universe.
Yeah, no, because Frakes has one. Frakes.
Oh yeah, he does, doesn't he? He has this kind of...
He's got a goatee.
I think that's sort of like you've got to earn beard privileges.
And
Worf. He does, doesn't he? But that's more you go, oh, Worf shaved the beard, and he's like, racist. Well, you've been racist against my Klingon heritage.
Klingon cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Something I did put, and I really liked actually, there's nothing to do with beards. I like the switch of the aliens and humans making first contact. So it's the other way around. So it's the aliens finding aliens, but instead of it being like normal, like in films and TV, it's humans. They're like, oh, it's aliens. But this was aliens saying this was aliens.
But this is the thing, right? Because they make a point of saying that they're talking about this thing called the Prime Directive, which is going to be this big driving force.
Oh, and it was Amazon.
No. But basically, like the Prime Directive is like absolute, like these are like the golden rules. So like you have to follow these, and one of the major, like one of the literally the first ones is that you cannot interfere with like the natural development of a civilization.
Yeah, he says that in the
exactly. Yeah, so like at this point, it's not like a hard and fast rule.
Yeah,
where it's like you cannot like. So basically, they shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Because like they've just basically gone down and gone, yeah, there's like aliens and starships, and here's that starship that we were just talking about, and like here's a video of how our planet blew itself up, and don't do that. Obviously, that is going to shake them into shape.
Yeah.
But if they were supposed to have had like, so if you want to think about it in a more deeper sense, the Third World War is what sparked like warp travel and then Vulcans and humans and whatever, blah blah blah. So if someone had come in and stopped the Third World War from happening, maybe they wouldn't have developed
this other stuff,
and then no Starfleet, no Federation, blah blah blah. So that's the kind of the linear impact that it can have. So they want to try and stop from doing that, and yet here they're just like, nah, fuck it, let's just get in there.
Yeah, let's
just beam down into the middle of like their Senate or whatever, and just go, yeah, there's aliens and starships and
don't even worry about it.
Well, no, do worry about it.
No, but I mean, like
because
them, like this very nonchalant way of
it is because like it's
doing
it like because obviously he comes down and he makes a very good point of like, you know, don't do this because we did it and it was all wrong, and you know we'll help you in a different way, in a better way, and blah blah blah. But if you imagine today, we're not in a good place in the world
at all.
So if today, we can dress in Star Trek outfits.
We're doing Star Trek things.
Yeah, we couldn't be better. Loving life. But if someone like, so there's like a big NATO or UN meeting or something like that, and then someone just teleported into the middle of that meeting and went, don't have a war, guys.
We still would. Because that's
With
what we're
them.
like.
Yeah, but we'd be like, well, we'll blow you up for a start. You've shown us where your ship is, so just aim at that big thing over there and shoot at it. But I thought it was like, because like you say, it's an interesting way of doing it, because usually they're so sort of like, oh my god, the rules, we can't get involved, which usually means they do anyway. But the fact that they acknowledge that this is probably not a good idea, but we've already kind of
got this far.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, it's an interesting way of doing things.
Well, I've got a lot of. I mean, I'll be honest. A lot of these are. There's a few questions that I have.
Oh.
But I'm going to go through just a couple of things, just so we're not just going back and forth between the beginning of the episode and whatnot.
Okay.
Cinematography, very well shot.
Very,
very, very well shot. Now, the first thing I thought and I saw it was like it feels more like Picard, but in a Star Trek way. Now, I've gone out on record many times saying Picard. I like Picard because it doesn't feel like Star Trek. It feels like a good sci-fi show. But this, I don't know whether it's just the quality. Probably more the quality.
Possibly so, because I mean, a lot of people would make the argument that the reason that they don't like Picard is because it doesn't feel very Star Trek.
Exactly.
Whereas it's more episodic. Well, it is episodic.
Yeah.
Like everything is just different in a new episode each week, but everything you would still learn about the crew members and their backstory and how they all function together and all that kind of stuff, which is, that's classic. That's exactly how they used to do it back in the day. And then they've made Discovery and Lower Decks and all that kind of stuff, which are all more, you know, it's going down a more linear path.
Yeah, it's a bit more mainstream, and
it feels a lot more mainstream. But
it's interconnected.
My argument for this was always that it felt like that they were making these, like making Discovery, making Picard in a certain way to get certain people back on board, so they could shut the studio up and go, yeah, well, we're making like mainstream stuff that people will watch, or like new fans can get into or whatever. And then they go, Strange New Worlds, though, that's the one that we wanted to make.
Yeah.
But we can't just go in and say, how about we pitch a format from 30 years ago?
Effect, though, because I don't like Discovery, and I like this.
like ratings wise and stuff like that. Like if you look at like Rotten Tomatoes and things like that, this is above all of them,
Yeah.
and all of the critic stuff on there. And from anyone that I've spoken to, who would, you know, they all
Even
say,
me.
even you go, you're going back to the way that it was, and that's why it's better.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's not just the fact that it's now episodic. It's written well, it's shot well, it's acted really well.
Yeah.
Which is surprising, because by this point you think that it's just, you just get anyone in.
Yeah, anyone who's willing to do it, not because it's a shit property or anything like that, but it's just,
it's a big
do you want to
name.
do Star Trek? Yeah, Sam.
Yeah, it's the same as like if you get offered to do a Star Wars or a Bond or a Indiana Jones, you just go, yeah, sure, of course I am.
Yeah.
Why would I not do it?
Whether you're a fan or not.
Yeah, exactly.
It's money.
Yeah, and then you
exposure.
get paid at conventions for the next 50 years because people will just pester you with questions that you won't remember or care about.
You were that guy from.
Yeah, I was that guy.
Not anymore though.
Yeah.
Bad point.
Oh.
Big screen TV but old rotary phone. What time period is this?
Who's got an old rotary phone?
So we're still on episode 1.
Okay.
So it's when they're in the cabin bit.
Yep.
And they got big screen TVs watching the old
He's watching a war film.
like the war,
Yeah.
black and white thingy, but it's on a big TV like that. And then when his communicator's going off, she's like, "You're going to answer that?"
Yeah.
And he's just like holds his fork up with his bacon or whatever he's got. And the shot of that is a rotary phone next to the communicator.
Right. And which does he answer?
Neither.
Well, I would probably postulate that it's just an old antique.
Could just be an antique, but it's on the side table.
Yeah, but if it's like at this point, it'd be like
could just be like a fashionable.
It's like a 400-year-old phone by this point.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like an old family heirloom. It's the old Pike phone, the bat phone. You'd call the Pikes of the past, and
if you can't get hold of him on that, ring the rotary phone.
Yeah, if he's not going to answer one, like this is presuming that he's on Earth as well. Which was he?
I'm pretty sure he is.
I'm pretty sure that landlines wouldn't exist at that point. There wouldn't be like wires running under the ground. You'd all be satellites and shit.
That's what I thought.
Unless it's like
what time period is it? Because you've got communicators.
Yeah.
You've got just normal TVs, and you've got rotary phones, which
True.
are all three very different.
But if you came into your living room right now and you saw a computer and a TV and a gramophone in the corner, you go, wait, is this the 20s or the 2020s?
Not so much that, but it's just like visually, it could have literally just been, here's a piece of technology.
Yeah, it's like the new and the old.
This is that.
Yeah.
That's just a screen.
Or maybe it's
just a screen.
If they go, that's a phone, so people know what a phone looks like, and this thing that's actually a phone now, we put that next to it so people go, oh, they're both phones.
I mean, to be fair, we're doing it now. You got your notes in a book. I got my notes on a tablet.
And that's way more futuristic, yeah.
Yeah. So we've done it. Oh, I keep flipping. The ship in the snow looked very good. And as this is like one of the first times.
The shuttlecraft.
Yeah, it was like coming down. That looked very, very cool.
Which is ironic, really, because there's a Galileo shuttlecraft's a thing, and I hated them. Because they just
cool,
boxy, but that's the thing, right? Because I bet you anything there will definitely be a picture of one of these in here. But
I hope so.
They've remade it, obviously, as like with the bridge, with the Enterprise, everything. It's still very much the same as it was. Oh, so that's like the shuttlecraft from the Next Generation stuff, which is dead cool.
That ice cream.
Yeah. Or some sort of. It's a jumja.
A jumja.
There you go. So.
I thought it was the Queen then.
I wouldn't surprise. It wouldn't be.
I bet the Queen's been in Star Trek, hasn't she?
There's a royal prince, like a Saudi Arabian prince or something like that, who
a real Saudi Arabian,
like an actual real one, yeah. So I think it's a Galileo. We're in the G's.
That looks like a Galileo.
No, that's a Galore class.
Oh, that was close.
Cardassian ship. Is that it? That's the one.
As I say, that one.
It's that one, which I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera because it's the smallest picture in the world.
It's the light on the white.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you can zoom in on that.
Superimpose.
There you go, yeah.
I could also just put them in post.
Also true. But, I always hated that because it just looks so boxy and awful and terrible.
See, I liked it because it looks like the Phantom from Rebels. You know, Kanan's little ship
the little
that comes
box
off
thing that comes off it. Yeah. It kind of does a bit, actually, yeah.
It's the first thing I thought of. As soon as I saw it, I went, that looks cool. And then I realised it reminds me of something from something else.
But that means that potentially that they based Kanan's little shuttle on the original. Do you know what I mean? It all comes round.
All interlinking.
Mm-hmm.
All interlinking. Another bad point, and I don't think you'll agree, but Pike sounds bored in the Boldly Go speech.
Oh, at the start.
Yeah, comparatively to like Picard and even like Janeway and everyone else, it's just like. I don't know if that's just his character.
No,
or
I
the
don't think
actor
so, because it seems like he has a bit of a laugh and a joke with his crew. You know, he seems like a kind of a, he's not like a button-down Picard sort of like, don't laugh on my bridge kind of thing. It's like, he seems like it's a bit more gung-ho, a bit more, we'll come on guys, let's outthink the problem sort of thing. I don't know, I've only watched the intro once.
Yeah, skipped. I literally watched,
because I was just like,
want to watch start to finish, and then went on to the next one. As soon as it went, I was like, forward.
Yeah, because it's kind of the same as like the old intros where it's a ship flying through and there's like different spatial things. But The only problem I've got with it, also, by the way, the Enterprise, I love it. Like, it's the classic design. It just looks way better. But they just sort of it's like past a black thing with green things on it, and like I don't know what anything is.
Yeah.
Because on Voyager, it's flying past an asteroid. In Next Gen, it's just the ship flying past and then flying past, then flying past. But on that, I'm just sort of like, the ship looks cool, but I have no idea what is any of that going on around it. I really don't know. So that I've got a problem with.
I like the music, but mostly
it's not iconic though, is it?
That's what I was going to say. It starts, so the way the music starts sounds like Next Generation,
kind of, yeah.
But then it goes off, and it's like kind of starts off up here.
It's like a no frills,
it's just
a knockoff version.
Yeah, it sounds like something we could get away with on YouTube.
Yeah, like a royalty-free space intro sort of thing.
Just like,
but then the end credits, though, it's just kind of like a newer, like remixy version of like the original series, like the.
So I don't know why they didn't have that.
Maybe it's a bit too on the nose.
Yeah, it's not as.
Because that just seems lazy then.
Yeah.
It's like, we haven't come up with a new intro, so we'll just use an old one instead. Because it's not.
It's not a bad intro.
It's fine. It's not. It's not like a beautiful orchestral piece.
Not enough to make me watch each episode, but.
Do you know what? That's a really interesting point, because I watch a lot of like
strange things. I never skip. I never skip strange things intro.
I do.
I don't.
I think, but it's because I've got like the song, like the soundtrack on my phone, so I listen to it fairly often anyway. Yeah. So I don't need it. I don't need to hear it again. But that again, you can play that to someone and be like, yeah, that's the Stranger Things.
Star Wars Rebels, I never skip the intro either, because it literally goes da, 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 and then it's done. But it still comes up with the skip intro. But it's like, why? It's like 4 seconds.
By the time I get to it, yeah, it's already done.
So why'd you do this? Another bad point. So to speak. Well, you'll see. Spock looks like Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3.
Topher Grace.
And I couldn't get past it. Visually.
I kind of see what you mean, but this is the problem. Like, and I feel for like any of the actors who have to come in and.
I think he's a great Spock.
But that's the thing, though. I think he genuinely does, like, because he doesn't seem like he's playing, like he's not doing an impression of Leonard Nimoy. It just seems that he's just sort of like, he's like, this is my version of it.
Yeah.
And it's very similar, like it's the same sort of stoicism, but he's still got, he'll tell a few jokes.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, that was a joke. You realise that, don't you? I'm being funny right now.
He's very like on the. I say I've got quite a lot of things about the one-liners and stuff, but there's a lot of bits where there's an episode later on. I think it's episode 3, where the Pike and Spock, they're trapped in the.
They're on those.
I don't want to go too far into because we'll get there later. Yeah. But it's when like they're flying around and stuff, and like Pike's just like, ah! Spock's just like.
It's like, oh, that's this is incredible pain. This is sore. Oh no.
And I really like that because it's even I know that that's reasonably faithful to the character, but it's also got that funny element.
Well, this is it, right? Because
situation.
There needs to be, like, because if you look at like, have you seen After Earth? Like the Will Smith, Jaden Smith.
No.
Right, it's a terrible film
for that reason.
Yeah. But
if it's just Will Smith, I'd probably watch it.
but Will Smith, his character is like the reason that he's such like a legendary fighter against these alien things, because like they like sense fear, so they can hunt on fear, and he's completely fearless, so he's invisible to them, which means that he's got like, he doesn't show any emotion, blah 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 blah. And he's just got this like completely like monotone delivery, like everything is just like, you need to be calm, please don't do the blah blah blah, and it's like that all the time. And I think that when you're pitching a Vulcan, that's kind of the sort of thing that you think, but it's not that. You
still gotta have that.
It's the nuance in it.
Stuff,
like, so they are sarcastic and they're irritated and but it's like it's a credit to the actor if you can make them.
If you can pull it off.
Yeah, if you can go, oh, he's clearly annoyed, even though he's not saying anything and he's not going. Marr.
It's similar to people like, I still don't think he was good, but Tom Hardy is Bane in Dark Knight Rises. He has to do all his acting with his eyes.
Yeah, and he
did a great job.
Yeah.
It was just a shit choice to not Tom Hardy, just having it like that, just didn't work for me. The line when he does like the video call to Spock a little bit later on.
When he's getting laid.
Yeah, he's just like, Spock, are you naked? She's like, no, but he was about to be. I was like, excellent writing. Excellent writing. And I've even put, I'm not joking.
But that again, it's just like it's a factual statement. He was like, I was going to be, but it's also sort of like, you just cop block me, mate.
Yeah,
you pike block
brilliant.
me. Yeah, great little line. But it's clearly a joke as well.
Yeah, and but it's again like when we literally just said it, but like how it's delivered. Yeah, it works really well. I think he's, like I say, my only criticism of him is he looks like fucking Venom from Spider-Man 3, which is not a good thing.
But that's not his fault, though.
No, that's not his fault. I just don't know what it like. I know what it is, but I don't know what it is.
Well, maybe you haven't seen, because like when we first meet Spock in Discovery, he's like dishevelled, like his hair's like yours basically, and bearded and stuff.
Not mine this week.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like, traditional Leonard Nimoy blue shirt on the bridge sort of thing. It's just sort of like scruffy. He's kind of falling apart a little bit, and then it's not until the very end of that when he goes back to the Enterprise, which is pretty much where this picks up ish, because like there's a big period of time still.
Well, that's another thing actually. Oh no, I'll come to that bit after.
Okay.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, so like obviously I haven't seen it. I think I've only watched like 4 episodes of Discovery, if I'm honest.
Well, there's like 3 seasons of it, so there's a bit to get through, and there's a 4th that I haven't seen because it's been taken off Netflix, so I haven't got around to it yet. But I'm also kind of not in a rush to either. Like, I think that I still obviously want to watch it, but this is better. Yeah, I'm way more excited to watch this week on week.
We've already touched on it, but ships look dirty and used, and I like it. Yeah, they're not all gleaming and polished and sparkly and everything. It's got the inside and the outside look really, really, really good. Yep. Lots of good quips, and that's from not just like the ones from Spot that we said, but like Pike has a lot of good ones. It's a lot more humorous than I thought it was going to be, and it's not hammy and cheesy.
Yeah, it's not like tell a funny line, look at the camera. It's like, it's still, but because there's so much talking in it, and it's not people just sort of like going, oh my god, what are we going to do? It's like people going, okay, what are we going to do in this situation? They're like, well, I can do this. Like, it's people like playing to their own strengths. Yeah. But like what's the helmsman's name? Ortega, I think.
No, I can't top it. I can't.
But like the woman with like the shaved head.
I know which one you mean. Yeah.
Like, she's really funny. Like, because she's that sort of like Tom Paris kind of like. Yeah. It's the sort of person, like Riker does it in Next Generation. Paris does it in. Favorite. In Voyager, but it's like there'll be a conversation on a screen with like an alien thing, and they get in a huff and then hang up, and they will always be the one and go, well, they're not in a very talkative mood, are they? Like, they always have that sort of like CIS moment, and she's doing that same thing, and I'm just like, again, that's like a classic. There's always got to be one
something that's there on all of them.
Yeah, so, one of them's got to do it. To just be sort of like, well, they were a bit unfriendly, aren't they?
Well, that's what I like.
Ruffle your shirt.
There's a lot of good quips, and I think that is mostly the cause for I can't think of the word, but it's in everything. So you got your action, you got your little bit of humour and stuff, and it's fine. I'm happy with it. But when you first talked about this episode specifically, and you're saying like, there's no fighting, it's just talking.
I couldn't believe it,
and I honestly was like, yeah, sounds great. But it was fine. I think it's the weakest episode,
the first one.
But it's still like 8, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and
easily.
I think that's
they just do get better as they go along.
Yeah,
up to now anyway.
Like, because again, this isn't going to be like a 24 episode season, so and again, they're working with much higher budgets. They're not working with just like models and stuff like that. They've got a CG that you can just do in 20 minutes, and you want to have a ship fly through? Sure, we've already got the asset for it. Whoop, done. Next. Yeah. So they're going to have, like, because everything's a bit more condensed, like in like a normal 24 episode season, maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10 of those would actually have like ships fighting. Because we've got to get the models and like laser effects and all that kind of stuff, and how's that going to work? And that's expensive.
I mean, that's the thing. It's not just budget and stuff these days, but it's once you've done one, a lot of time you've got your render and everything ready to go. All you need to, instead of it being a fire simulation, it needs to be a snowstorm simulation. And
it's like, we've got the same cave that we've had for 40 years.
Yeah, just flip it.
Walk around. Like, because like all the corridors, like when people are walking around the ship in corridors just having a chat, it would be like 3 pieces of set.
Yeah.
And they just walk through and then reset and then just carry on. Yeah.
Easily done.
When you look at like how sort of small those like corridors and things like that were, and then you look at the size of the bridge in this, and it's just like, god damn, like people have really like figured out, like, but also like in Discovery there's like a lot of like, you know, they'll be like in a hangar and then you can clearly see like all the back wall is all CG and the ships are all not, like, obviously they're not going to be there, but it looks like they're not there.
This looks, and you have got like that hazy filter on
a little
there
bit
anyway, but I think that's just to give it more of a like an old touch, so it feels a bit.
I think it hides like if there's a bit of a blemish in there, you can kind of hide it away.
Myself on videos.
If there's just an easy way to just sort
fix it, make it look worse because it's harder to notice things, but it works. And I think even if you put the same, I'm not saying that you are just putting a filter, but if you put the same filter on Discovery, I don't think it would make it look any better.
No, I do think that they are shot, but it's also a very different style of show as well.
Yeah, completely different. And that is one of the things that, whether you are a fan of Star Trek or you're not a fan of Star Trek, all of them are different.
So you can access the whole medium from one point or another. So if you like the comedy stuff, Lower Decks, that's there, and that's a really funny show. And it's very respectful.
That's still my favourite Star Trek show, I'll be honest.
I think this is. I think this
will be second.
Well, there's like this, then Next Generation, then like all of the others. But like Lower Decks, that's probably up there because it's like it's funny, it's well animated, but it's also like it takes the piss out of all the right things, and it respects the right things.
It's just going, Star Trek's for nerds, and it's look at this and look at this. It's
exactly.
We know what it is. Yeah, but we like it.
It feels like it's written by people who love the show.
I can't believe I'm defending 2 Star Trek shows.
My dreams come true.
But I mean, to be fair, that would just be my top 4 that would just change, would just be in no particular order: Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Next Generation, Picard. They're the only ones. Yeah, I can handle Voyager, but I only watched that because I was forced to.
Yeah, it's again, that's like for a lot of the fan base.
I watched this because I was forced to, but it worked out for the best.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of good quips. I did like, and I don't know if this is just because obviously I don't pay that much attention normally, I liked seeing, so when the ship's moving, you've got like the weird warp effect in the windows. Do you got like the green from
and
the
purple?
outside? Or
From the outside. So as they're inside, and they're talking, and there's like a window here, you can just go.
Oh, like they're like sort of like weird hyperspace, whatever. Yeah.
I like that, but I don't know if that's in the other ones or not.
Not particularly. No, it's usually just sort of like stars.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. But
it's not like it's like a big Millennium Falcon.
I paid more attention to this one because I had.
And there's only 4 episodes you've had to watch rather than 9 seasons. Yeah.
The Death Knowledge. Do you?
What?
So you know is so Pike's seen the future.
Yes. Yep.
Spoilers for Strange New Worlds, which we probably should have said in advance to this bit. So did you already know about this?
Yes.
So you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it in like Discovery or one of the older shows or
both?
Both. Right. Yeah.
So basically, and that will be in this book as well. So Pike was only captaining the Enterprise in the original series for a couple of episodes, I think, before Kirk came in. But Pike was basically melted. I can't remember why. Again, there probably will be an explanation in here. But he's, I think he's like hit by like, it's like radiation or something like that, or some mental disease or something.
Oh no, radiation was a different thing from the episode.
But I don't know if they go into too much detail as to. Oh, funnily enough, I know we just mentioned it. That's the fella. Remember the guy I was at the convention who didn't remember anything?
Yeah.
That's him. Prick.
Name and shame. Name and shame.
So what was it? Pike I was looking for, wasn't
Pike.
it? So potatoes mashed. Why is that in there?
I told you it was recipes. I'm such a big Star Trek fan.
Picard, Phoenix, Picard maneuver. It's like a dual image thing.
I thought this was like the opposite to the Riker sitting in a chair.
Oh no, I mean the Riker maneuver does exist in Star Trek as well. It was like done in Insurrection, I think. But basically, like the Picard maneuver is like you go to warp and then stop really quickly, and because like it's traveling faster than light, there's still an after image, and the ship goes after the after image. So it's like he thinks that there's two ships there. Very clever.
Is it physically possible? Scientifically possible?
I mean, is any of this? Why can I not spell? What's before?
You went AHIJKLMNAP.
What an idiot.
Do you want PI?
P-I-H.
So it should be after H.
Well, it should be after Picard, shouldn't it? The page I was just fucking looking at. Wow, look at that. There's so many pages for him. Pike City Baseball. That looks like him.
I assume it's not the same Pike.
It is.
Oh, it is?
It's
the same
100%
guy?
the same guy, yeah. Like, as in the same captain. So that's him. So that was him in the original ones.
What, the one that's in it now? That's him?
No! I mean, that's from like 1960.
That's what I was saying, because that's what I said. It's not
like
the same
this
guy.
character is the same.
Yeah, I know.
But no, it's not the
bit.
same dickhead.
That's what I was thinking. I goes, he looks real good for his thing.
Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-bum.
He's from Rebels.
Pike went to live on Talos 4 when the explosions of his blah, 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 blah. Based on Spock's line that we served with Pike for 11 years, 5 years message. Yes, suffered severe radiation injuries. As a result, he was wheelchair bound because of that's what he looks like in the original series. So in Discovery, they're doing like a whole thing of the story is that they have to go to like this Klingon planet because like these time crystals there. So basically they like grow there naturally.
Yeah.
But if you basically like you can. Because I think Janeway uses something similar there in Voyager to like go back in time and help save Voyager. Well, it's another thing. But basically, they have to go there to get this crystal to like power a suit that can like travel through time. And Pike, he's there and he like touches one of these crystals and he sees himself in the future like all melted and in the wheelchair. So he keeps on having like this like PTSD flashbacks or flash forwards, I guess, because he knows.
How he's going to
that's how he's going to die or end up at least. So like through the episodes, and that's kind of what we're seeing, like he's still dealing with this a lot, but he's also kind of coming to terms with it because he's like, well, if that's the future, I know that. I mean, that in a way it would kind of be the biggest relief ever. Oh
yeah, because I mean, like they do touch on it with Spock saying like, I did mean to write it. Did I write it down? No, but there's a good. He has a good line about making trauma into strength or something like that. I can't remember. I can't exactly remember what the quote was. But it's true though because he knows. So is he going to be overly cautious? Like Pike says it himself. Like, am I going to be too cautious? Am I going to be not cautious enough? Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
What are you just going to be thinking about the outcome rather than trying to survive minute to minute? Whereas I'd be like, okay, well. If you believe
Stay away from radiation,
that time is lit. I mean, no, but that's the thing. You can't get away from it, and it's in the show they can't get away from it either. That has to happen. But yeah, so that's why he's having those flash footage. So, but that is something that was shown in Discovery as him like touching this time thing. But it is also from the original series. It does happen, yeah. So I think it's interesting that they've shown that straight away. So they're just sort of like, this isn't like Anson Mount isn't going to be doing this forever.
Yeah,
because at some point. He is going to end up melted in a wheelchair. And then presumably, if the show is still liked...
then it will be... Dingy will take over.
Maybe, but then that's very dangerous ground because then you're just retreading old water.
You're just doing the same show again.
Exactly. Which potentially you could go, well, that's 50 years ago, so maybe it's worth an update.
Potentially. I mean, they may go down the route of, like... What if that didn't happen? Like, maybe like it was in a...
That you're getting very close
parallel.
into, but this. I mean, there are like multiple timelines and stuff like that. Yeah, but this is a strange new world in the only timeline that we know and appreciate, so it can't deviate from that.
I mean, we've had Vader and Obi-Wan meeting.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, if they're doing it, sure,
so why not?
Yeah.
See how it goes. The multiple when they get in the pods to go, the energize rings.
Transport pad.
Yeah. Because there was more than one of them.
Yep.
Reminded me of Power Rangers. Because normally there's just the one, isn't there?
Oh, if the Enterprise was a Megazord, I mean, that'd be a pretty, like, it'd be enormous.
That'd be pretty good.
If that just transformed and just started battering
He just grabs a moon and just puts it in his chest. The last note I've got for episode 1 is a quote from Spock, and it's when they've beamed down to the planet when they've had the
surgery done.
Thing he's done on the face and that. And then he's just like, Captain, where are my pants? Like, when in Rome. Like, very good line.
Yeah,
very
another one.
line.
Again, it's just a factual statement.
Yeah, it's
clearly
not,
a joke.
It's not, but it's not like.
He's not like going, oh no,
Yeah, it's just
my Vulcan penis.
It's massive, by the way.
A Vulcan nerve penis.
It's like that.
Somewhere, I don't know. Funnily enough, I think the one thing that's not in here is how big a Vulcan's Tadger is.
I mean, maybe you need a new book.
An updated
That's
one.
what these notes are for. I'm starting a new one. My encyclopedia. That's all the notes I had for episode 1, though. Overall, a solid 8 out of 10.
I was so surprised by it because it seems
very
like
good.
because at the start of Discovery, for example, a war starts and Sonequa Martin Green's character, she's the one directly responsible for the war being started, and she's charged as being a mutineer because she like Michelle Yeoh. You know Michelle Yeoh?
Yeah.
From like Tomorrow Never Dies and Crouching
No, I was
Tiger,
trying to
Hidden
think
Dragon.
I was going to say, was she in
Yep.
Discovery?
Yeah, so she plays the original captain of the ship that Sonequa Martin Green's character's on, and they're like best mates.
I can't remember it being, didn't it? And I would have seen that one.
Honestly, it is the first couple of episodes, but
she's
she's
the first like 4.
she's killed almost like immediately. I mean, she does come back as like another character later on, but like she believes that the best way to like deal with the Klingons, who are like this, like who are they? What are they? Like all warriors. No one's heard from like them in a century. So she shoots the captain, like stuns her, and then goes out onto the bridge and tells them to fire at them, which they do, I think. No, she nerve pinches her, but because she's not like a proper Vulcan, like she only goes down for like a couple of minutes, and then the captain comes out and shoots her, or pulls a gun on her, I think at least. But like she's the first mutineer in Starfleet history. So that's like the first couple of episodes, and in Strange New Worlds, it's just like, guys, don't have a war.
Yeah.
It's like totally the opposite. It's so the opposite. It's like no one's gonna have. There's like a little bit of a scuffle.
Yeah.
They had like a bit of like.
It was more of a. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like when you said about it, and you said there's like a very minor scuffle, and I expected to be like, but I mean, they get some fucking punches in, there's some throwing and stuff.
Yeah, there's a bit of a whoop.
Yeah, it's alright. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Fits the episode well.
But that's the thing,
and that's the main thing.
You don't need to go in and just fucking blast everyone.
No, I mean it calls for it at certain points, and to be honest, like episode 2, I haven't put a lot of notes on. I'll be honest.
Well, let's move on to episode 2. Then.
I think where they are put in. This isn't 2, but for all the episodes, everything that's put in fits well, and it's a good pace and everything else. It doesn't seem too forced. Episode 2, first thing I've put, and I can't remember why off the top of my head. I think it's the planet they're on at the beginning. Prosthetics are very good, and I can't remember why I've put.
Is this like the people in the desert?
Yeah, the desert ones.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like. Them and like the shepherds, like the fellas in the like that weird sort of like bulbous big head thing that they've got going on, like all the prosthetics, and especially the guy who plays the engineer.
Yeah,
like because I thought initially he was an Andorian. No, you don't know what they look like. But don't worry about it because I've got you covered.
I thought it was a futuristic version of Davy Jones.
What?
The Squid Man.
Oh right, okay. Oh, like from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. Not David Jones.
I don't know who that is.
Keep flipping. Don't want to stay up.
Android.
You also won't believe how heavy this book is. It's ridiculous.
And this is a 22-year-old book.
Yeah.
Andorians. So, again, we'll superimpose a picture up so you can see it, but that's an Andorian.
Oh, no, it's definitely not one of them.
No, but that's the thing, because like in Discovery, like when they introduced Klingons, they look nothing like Worf, and everyone was sort of like,
Yeah, I didn't like
"Ooh,
them. I
what
didn't
are
like the
you doing
look
with
of
these?" I mean, they've they've changed them a bit and they've like grown their hair and stuff like that, so they're kind of looking more like it. But I thought, oh god, what have they done to the Andorian? Like it's white, it's got like these ridges and stuff. It's a totally different race. So I was like, okay,
Yeah, that's fine then.
that's fine, yeah. But like I found out that the guy who plays like this sort of blind engineer, which again, it's not unusual, like Geordie LaForge, he was blind.
Yeah.
But he had like a visor. But this guy doesn't need one because like he's got this like force sensitivity or whatever. But the actor who plays him also
He's
blind.
actually blind. So
Well done again, Star Trek.
excellent work. I just put only on the second episode, and the crew are getting more likable. And I mean that in a positive way. So they were fine in the first one, but there's for even through like Next Generation stuff, there's only like some of them that I like. 4 probably.
Right, okay.
But these ones, everyone so far, good.
Well, this is the thing, right? Because usually, again, this is why it kind of falls back to a trope that, or like a format that seems to work for this show. But in Discovery, the focus is always on Burnham. So Sonequa Martin's Green's character, Saru, who's like the captain, like Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Like whoever the captain is, obviously at the time, so it's Pike or whatever, and like the engineer and like one of her mates, like they're kind of like the focus.
Which ones?
The people who are like flying the ship, shooting anything, people in communication. I don't know who any of those people
just randos.
are. But they have names and they have like lines and they're supposed to be a part of this story and crew or whatever.
They're not main.
But you don't know them. You don't get to know them. Where in this, it's totally the opposite.
Yeah.
Like you have like a big like friendly family dinner. And like they're all sort of like, you know, making and chipping in and helping out, and like her is just sort of like, oh my god, I shouldn't be here sort of thing. She feels like really out of place with it. But it feels like you're not only getting to know them, but they're getting to know each other as well. Or they've been working together for so long, they
It's just melded into it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think they seem more like a crew. And I think like what you pointed out for, say, like again, just an example, Next Generation, Picard just says, fire torpedoes or whatever. And then it showed you just random bloke B, and then next episode it's the same thing, and he's like fire torpedoes, and it was random bloke F.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know. You wouldn't go, hey, he wasn't the one from last time. He didn't fire the
if he said fire torpedoes and anyone other than Worf fired the torpedoes, you'd be like, who's that?
Yeah.
What are you doing there? Like, what are you getting involved for? Random bloke. And like the only time any rando ever spoke, it'd be like, okay, well, the episode is focused around you in some way.
Yeah.
You're going to die. You're going to turn into a Q, which happens.
It's the Arrow syndrome, isn't it?
It is. It's like someone gets introduced in, and then they're going to be important in this in some way.
You see something from before. So there's a character you haven't seen him for like 3 seasons.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they turn back up again.
Well, obviously something's going to happen with you.
But I don't get the sense that they have like, I mean, there are like other rando crew members and whatever, just sort of milling about.
Yeah, but
there's
not there doesn't seem to be as many, and they don't seem to be too much in the forefront.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. Yeah, which means that we've focused on these people, and they all seem very different.
Yeah,
but they all like, again, it's kind of like in the fourth one with like the engineer who I can't remember his name now, but like him and Uhura kind of like getting to know each other, and like he's just sort of like, oh fuck off, you can't do this.
Yeah,
and then like he busts his arm and. They kind of like build that relationship because they've worked together in that kind of thing.
Because they've been forced into it. Not forced, like, but
it feels like that
in that situation
they'd work better together now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, inevitably, either that guy is going to die, or he's going to get transferred or something like that.
Yeah.
Because at some point, Scotty is going to come in.
Maybe he falls off the bridge.
Falls off the bridge.
Off the bridge.
What, trips down a turbo lift shaft?
No, he doesn't get injured or anything. It's just really embarrassing. And he's just like, I can't go back there again.
I've got to get transferred.
This is awful. This is what happened on the last one. When they drop down, when they go down to the planet and they got to put the old spacesuits on for the asteroid bit, they look pretty cool. Reminded me of Netflix.
Lost in Space.
Yeah. Reminded me of them. Very cool suits.
I think they might be the same suits from Discovery. Because I think that in like Voyager, whenever they have to put those suits on, I'm pretty sure they're the ones from First Contact. Because the ones in First Contact, like these like really cool, and just sort of like, if you've got those lying around on like the Paramount lot, get them out whenever you can. Yeah, why wouldn't you? But so however many like there were in First Contact, so it was like 3 or 4 people all wearing these things. any away team that needs them. Well, there'll be 4 people on that.
Yeah,
We're not going to have any more than that because we can't afford it.
well, I don't mind going. It's not now. You get to stay here.
It's like, wait, you're 3 feet taller than everyone else. No, you're staying on the ship.
Just wear the helmet.
Yeah.
The ship fight, I think, is probably one of the best looking Star Trek ship fights I've ever seen.
That I'd probably agree with.
Very good effects on that.
Although I like the fact that on... I think it's the one before, because is that the Gorn one you're on about, where they're just like completely on the back foot the whole way through?
No, this is onto episode 2.
Oh right, okay.
So when I can't remember the name of the race, but when obviously they're trying not to shoot the asteroid, and then Pike's just like gets in front of the asteroid and he does the stupid little trick thing, which again brings me to my next point. The comet plan seemed more about luck than anything else.
Well, but that's the point though. It's like a philosophical sort of thing. It's just like, well, they got involved and sort of like skewed the situation so that this thing would act. But then if they hadn't have done that, would it have done it?
Yeah.
It's like a Matrix Oracle sort of like, were they supposed to have done that in order for it to miss the planet?
Yeah, I mean, I do get the nature behind it. It just seems to be like there was like 98% chance that wasn't going to work.
Probably not, yeah. But when you're like dealing with like a potentially god comet or something, you can't really do much about it.
No, it all comes down to chance.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a more interesting take on the series though if they had all died. On episode 2. And
or that thing had hit the planet and they were like, whoops. Uh-oh. We don't report this one to Starfleet, guys. If anyone asks where that planet went.
I flipped it. On to 3 now.
Although,
right.
No, I will say actually, just before he's like, because that big old massive ship rocks in, and then he's just like targeted weapons or whatever, and that phaser blast just goes like just pow, just right through it, and I was just like, that felt like it had impact. It's not like a million going. Pew, 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 pew.
That's something, and again, this is down to the fact that it was 70,000 billion years ago. But like all of the old ones, even Next Generation, the fights and the effects from the weapons themselves. I know most of the time they're on phasers or whatever, but they don't seem to have much power. There's I don't know, again, old stuff against new stuff, but like even the little scuffle, it had a bit of weight behind it.
Yeah.
And then the energy coming from that as it tore through, it just seemed believable.
Yeah.
It
felt like that was like a really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just like a thing that's just going to hit a shield and bounce off. And,
yeah.
Because I'd agree with that. Like, there's a lot of times in like maybe not in Voyager, like, because they get a lot of fights in Voyager, but like certainly in the Next Generation, it's just sort of like, it feels like it's either you shoot them once and their shields are gone and they just turned off, or you shoot the weapons and they're off and they're like, right, okay, well that's it, the fight's over, or it's they chipping away at each other, just chip, and it doesn't, like you say, but again, it's you're dealing with models at this point, so like this isn't like Disney model making sort of like they've got like photos and they sort of go, well, you can kind of do that, and that's about it.
It's got a stick.
So it'll always be like, it'll cut from like one shot of the Enterprise going and it'll hit another ship, and then maybe they'll return. Like, it won't be like cool shots of them like flying past each other and that,
but again,
which we're getting now in this, obviously, and
yeah.
that looks incredible. But yeah, like, except like outside of the films, you're not really going to get it.
Again, it's money and the cost, and a lot of these, not so much nowadays, but old. It was, we're shooting this episode this week. As soon as we finish, we need to start next week's.
Well, I think I read.
episode.
I think it was a book. It might have been by William Shatner or someone like that. Anyway, he was working on the original series anyway. But basically, because this was like a new concept for a TV show, and like the budget was so small, there would be almost entire episodes where it's entirely on the bridge because they couldn't afford to do anything else. Which is why it was like, this is why it was captivating dialogue and stuff, because they just had to work with what they had.
Nothing else they can do.
Exactly. But now, like I say, you want to do a 45-minute ship fight, sure. There'll be like a team of people who specialise in like space battles.
That's literally all they're going to be doing.
Yeah. And they go,
but again, it works in its favour. And not just this show, other shows as well. But on to episode 3 though, and this is where it really picks up for me. Very much picks up. First off, Ghost of Valyria made me think of werewolves for some reason, and I was very disappointed that we didn't get any. The episode name.
What was it?
Ghost. I may have pronounced it wrong, but Ghost of Valyria.
Oh, right. That's actually a good point, because we obviously get the reveal that number 1, Rebecca Romaine. Mystique. That's the second X-Men alumni.
And I knew that.
And Illyrium.
Number 3.
I'm pretty sure. I don't think that's something they've made up. I think that is a thing. But I'm going to check the Bible.
Check it.
Because if it's not in this, then they have made it up, and that's fine. But I'm pretty sure, because number 1, that character does exist in the original show as well. I can't spell again, Callum.
Sounds like a sex toy.
Oh, well, so does that, to be fair. That's a. No one will get this reference, but it's a D7 class Klingon
Obviously,
cruiser.
it's a D7 class. Idiots.
What am I looking for?
Ghosts
Illyria.
of Illyria. Illeria.
Ildarians?
Have I just spelled it wrong?
Nope, you're absolutely right. They're from the Delta Quadrant. That's on Voyager. That's fine. Melania.
So they could be real. They could be real, guys. They could be real.
I think. What is it? ILL?
Illeria.
Nope, they are new. So I think they have just made that up.
So it's a newbie thing.
I think it is.
Ah.
But it's kind of like it's almost like a get out of jail free card, where it's just sort of like, oh yeah, this is like entirely.
I mean, it's captivating enough, and this was up to this point in time.
I like the fact that it's just sort of like, oh, she's just super strong.
Yeah, just do it. It's fine.
Like, because everyone's just sort of like, how are you just carrying that dude? Just like it's a sack of spuds.
Dude, like honestly, when because what, who texted me? When I was watching this one, someone texted me, and I thought I'd paused it,
right?
And I hadn't. And I was reading the message because it was quite long, and I was just like glanced up. And I was like, what? just hoisted him away.
Yeah, but because I didn't get that sense, like when she was like first infected, and then she just sort of like burnt it out of her system. Yeah, I was just like, oh, okay, so she's like the super virus monster or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was more of an infection thing. Obviously, they used her blood and everything else.
But that's the problem with that, though, because then that's a MacGuffin. Because if you go, she's got super blood.
Yeah.
Well, then you go, okay, well, anytime anyone gets the sniffles, just give them a shot of that and they'll be on their way.
Yeah. Go cure them. Common cold.
Yeah, it's a bit, it feels a bit J.J. Abrams, because they did that with... I can
see them doing something else to maybe, like, dilute it a bit so it's not as effective. Maybe...
Well, to be fair, they go, oh, why can't we just have her blood? And they go, oh, well, the bloody isotopes and the radiation and blah, blah, blah. It's like, you just do literally anything and you just say, no, because blah. It's like whenever someone gets in a tricky situation, they go, oh my God, beam me up. Yeah. And they go, oh, we can't because the planet's isosphere is blah, blah, blah. It's like, there's always a way to just write out, we can't just save you with magic technology.
Good writing will be able to evade that kind of thing. Not good writing. Well, it is good writing, but... Obviously, Pike and Spock were going to get stuck, man.
100%. As soon as they were like, go without us, sort of thing, you're like, okay, well, you're here for the long haul.
They're going to be stuck there now.
Yeah, you're getting in that storm, son.
The second that they said they didn't want to be there, and like with the storms and stuff, like, well, you're going to get stuck there.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of me saying bad writing, it was good writing because then we got to see more of the other crew,
like thinking outside of. Yeah. So that
was a good bit.
So Nurse Chapel, which is
literally my next thing.
Oh, okay, but
good to see more of the other members of the crew.
Yeah, but so she is, again, she's a character that was in the original series, and we found out purely by coincidence, by a random page turn when we were looking at something before this. Dr. Mbenga, I think his name is. He is legitimately a character that appeared in one episode of the original series. He was a black doctor. Unbelievable. Not that it's a black doctor.
Yeah, outrageous.
Jesus Christ, quick, beat me out.
Sorry, Chris Benoit.
But like in like the 60s and 70s, there was like someone who was a black doctor, and it was just,
unheard of.
Well done. But the fact that that's an actual character,
yeah,
because I thought they just went, oh well, they can't have McCoy in there just yet. Like they've got Uhura, sure, they've got Pike and Spock. Yeah. Well, that's your three main ones that people are going to remember. But you can't just go, oh, and here's Scotty, and here's McCoy, and blah, 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 and here's Picard as a kid. You couldn't have that. But it's like with the whole Kirk thing as well, when they're just sort of like, oh, Kirk, he's on his way up, and it's just like some random... I had a look, he's not in there.
He's not in there.
No. It's just some random Kirk. Presumably related.
Potentially, yeah.
But like, I like the fact that he hasn't just been like, he's just been in everything. He's just been like, I think it's purely just done to
been said.
Tease up.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mini Easter egg.
Yeah, to be like, haha, got you.
Could be a bloody Frank Boner situation.
I don't know, but it's but yeah, like when they got stuck on that thing, and then it's just like, but again, I recognize that as soon as it was like screaming lightning things, and I was like, that's clearly all the people that lived on this planet before. But when they were busting in to save them, I was like, that's like, because one thing that's very rare in Star Trek, in my opinion certainly, is that anytime they'll come across a new alien, like certainly one that you're not aware of, so like a Vulcan or a Romulan or a Klingon or whatever, you know what the deal is with them. If there's a new one, if they appear to be nice, they will fuck you over. And if they appear to be dangerous, they're usually okay.
Yeah.
So as soon as it was like, okay, screaming lightning ghosts, they're probably okay. They'll be fine, yeah. Especially like they're made of like electricity or whatever. It's like, what are you going to do? Shoot them? No. Which means that you're going to die there, or instantly they're going to fix the transporters and get you out.
What could you do?
I don't know.
Sand?
It's like, quick, Spock, get your penis out. Why? It might work. Just shut up.
Who's sorry? No.
Oh my god, look at it. And then die.
It's something I've done, and I've put more, and I've even done like a little pen one
horror
as well. Some surprise, almost horror elements.
Okay.
And you receive some more in the episode that follows this one, but this was a good touch where I use horror in the most loosest sense of terms because it's not scary, but it seemed more. There seemed to be more danger, and it had a few like jump scare bits where so we sort of burst through the doors and everything else. But I don't know. I don't think this was necessarily because they are all episodic. I don't think it's been laying up to this. But
no, I don't think it's like there's. Oh my god, there's a big bad they're building towards.
No, not so much like that. It just seemed to be the first one was a bit more jovial. Second one, they had a problem to solve. This one has had like say some almost horror elements leading into the fourth one with a lot of horror elements. And I think that just seems to just be how it's fallen. But again, even though I said he looks like Venom from Spider-Man 3, I like this Spock. Great timing and one-liners.
Yeah. But I because I haven't, it's been a long time since I've watched the original series.
It was. I wish I'd wrote it down. Sorry, it just popped into my head.
What?
But it's when he's go through the scroll thing.
Oh, like the archive thing.
Yeah, it's just like you need to do something like a Marmingus with knowledge. That's like, I mean, he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's not lying.
Well, but that's the thing. It's just sort of like we're stuck in a building. We can't go outside. There's monsters trying to get in. Maybe there's something in here in a library that might help us.
Yeah.
And it did.
It got him out of
Again,
it.
it works out like everything he says. It's like it's logic. It's the point.
Yeah. But it works well, and he's got such good delivery on it, and he's my favourite Spock. I haven't got a favourite Spock, but this one is.
I mean, there's only 3, including this guy. There's Leonard Nimoy, Zachary Quinto, and then this fella. There's not many others.
Oh no, yeah, it was Nimoy. I was thinking of like, well, who's the old one that's in the movie? But that's Nimoy.
Yeah,
because it's just old.
It literally like, until the J.J. Abrams ones, but then he was still in it as himself. But yeah, I think he's. I'd have to go back and just see if the old Leonard Nimoy stuff is he sort of a bit funny and he's like he's dropping one-liners like that, or he's just sort of like sarcastically pointing something out.
Yeah, I think it's more the. I'd say more sarcastic. From what I can remember,
I mean, there's a lot.
100 episodes, I've seen 12.
Yeah,
there's
like a lot of the Vulcans that are in it. Generally speaking, they're usually like they look down on humans quite a lot, and they're just sort of like you're stupid and you're not really like. The whole thing in Enterprise was like that Vulcans were the first. That was First Contact.
Yeah,
that was the film. You know. And it was just always like humans were like, oh my god, we need to like get faster ships and bigger ships. We need to go out and we need to do more and explore and whatever. And the Vulcans are like, chill your boots.
Yeah,
you'll get there. And that like so it's a constant battle of like you keep on stopping us from progressing. And they're like, yeah, but we've been doing this for a lot longer than you have.
Yeah, we know what we're doing.
Yeah, but it's always like you're just rash and you're stupid and you're barbaric and blah 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 blah.
Which we are.
Yeah,
can't argue with them.
But historically, that's exactly how they were. Probably worse, which is why this logical route. It's to stop them from being like emotional and mental.
Yeah, so they don't.
Hence why like Pomfar, which you know what that is.
I do know what the Pomfar is.
Correct.
It's Vulcan rapey juice in the brain.
You're close. I'll give you that.
It's like in Season
Yeah, in essence, yeah. So it happens once every 7 years, and they go fucking bananas until they can hit that.
And they have to do a musical number. And they have to have the science guy do the song. There was a song in one of the episodes with the bonfire.
What?
There was. Oh no, that was the version I did for Starcom.
Did you do a musical number?
Yeah, I attempted to do. It didn't work as well.
Oh dear.
Cut that bit out because it's from something we never ever used.
It's fine. If you still got the footage, I'd say put it in now.
I think I still have.
Do it.
Honest.
Do it.
I think it's still in Drive. Move on to 4 because that's where I put the little horror thing on there, and then literally more horror elements.
Woohoo!
This is my favourite episode by far.
I'm half with you and I'm half not. So in terms of like it being like,
it's in the least Star Trek episode, which is why I think I like.
But
it.
that's the thing. It's because like it's this like, oh my god, this is the enemy. And they're like, it's kind of like that reaction of like, oh my god, it's the Borg. It's that kind of like, oh no, it's them. And it does feel a little bit like, so in the J.J. Abrams ones, Kirk remembers that his dad, Chris Hemsworth, was killed.
His dad in real life.
Yeah, also. By like, there was like a lightning storm in space. And they were responding to so that's when his dad got killed because of this thing.
Yeah.
And then fast forward and blah blah blah. He's on the ship and he's just like busts out on the bridge and he's like, "You've got to like raise shields now. Like we're going into an attack."
Yeah.
And then obviously that's what happens. And then that's pretty much kind of what happens here.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So she's just like, "Oh my god, I know what this is." Which again, if she's just been traumatized by like this fucking thing that's like, I mean, the Gorn. Do you know what a Gorn looks like?
No, but again, that's another thing that I really liked.
They don't show
it
them.
alludes to it.
And I tell you why, mate. I will show you exactly why they don't show you.
The ship looked very cool as well when it was flying. It was like,
yeah, I don't like that.
I liked it.
Very
really
quick.
cool.
No, I mean, like, it's like, oh, I don't
like in a good eerie way.
Yeah,
really cool. But I'm really glad it didn't show you what they look like.
Well, there's a very good reason for it, and I'd be very surprised if they actually show back up again, unless it's just like in ship form. That is what a Gorn looks like.
That?
Yeah.
Doesn't look too scary.
Exactly. So
Has
that's
got an apron on.
Well, this is just. I mean, this is the most classic. If you Google it, it will be. I guarantee you, it will be Kirk fighting a Gorn, which is like the parodied thing.
It's a brown one, isn't it?
It's like
in like a desert.
Yep, and they're like double-handed fist fighting.
Yeah.
That's a Gorn. That's why they haven't shown it, because everyone will be like, "Look at that stupid rubber-suited idiot."
Yeah, but they must be able to do it good now.
Exactly. So now people are like, okay, well, it looked like a big rubber, like Toho Godzilla man suit thing. What is it going to look like now? What scary, terrifying dinosaur monster is it going to look like?
Like a xenomorph or something.
But it could be, because I mean, of certain things. So like, I think there's certain things that you can't really redesign.
Yeah.
Like Klingons, you go, well, that's like a classic look. How could you not read? Although, ironically, do you know what they look like in the original series? Just dudes. Just dudes with a brown face.
Fair enough.
And then it wasn't until they got to like Next Generation they went, let's give them massive ridges and do all that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I never known from obviously Worf and the Klingon Academy game.
Although, but that's the thing though. Like, so they did do this. They did an episode of Enterprise in that kind of like Rogue One, like explain away a plot hole sort of thing, where they had some disease. So basically, they always looked like the ridge, with the big hair and the beard and whatever, big warriors. Rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
But they had some sort of plague disease thing, which meant that they lost all of their ridges and they just looked human in the original series. And then in one of the episodes of Enterprise, they give them a cure for it. But it's like, it'll take a few generations before it reasserts itself, which then lines up on the timeline. That's why they now look like.
That's why I call convenient writing.
It's very clever because they just go, medical disease. So that's why you look.
I mean, it works.
That's why you look like a dude.
But the thing is, though, with stuff like that, not just bloody Klingons and their skin cream and stuff, but it's a problem because it's not pointed out, or they don't address it. If they fix it, cool.
You go, well, yeah. Whether you agree with it or not, and go, well, that's a lazy way of doing it. They've explained it.
Yeah.
So buy it or don't. But if you went right, the Gorn isn't going to be a silly rubber going with an obviously fake head and whatever, and it's now like a xenomorph, not like sort of like with a tail or whatever, but it's still sort of like, you know, lizardy,
like, almost
and
like lizardy, arachnidy,
sort of like scuttling around or whatever. Who is going to argue with that and go, no, more rubber-suited men, please?
Get it back like Power Rangers.
Yeah, just slow lumbering, can't even move properly. Like you say, in an apron.
Yeah, it looks ridiculous, that does.
I honestly, I kind of don't want them to, because in my head, I'm just like, it's that ship zipping around or whatever, and it's just a giant rubber dude sat there flying it around like this.
Let's be friends.
But
otherwise, Ray Romano.
I don't know.
Deborah!
But I think if they did do it, it would be...
It's going to be scary.
It would be scary as shit. It would be like in a darkened, broken corridor.
You can't do this episode and then end it with that.
Like
it just wouldn't work. Just Barney with a fucking apron.
Yeah,
in
for
space.
sure. But like that whole episode where they're just getting the shit kicked out of them constantly.
But there's also good sound in this episode as well.
What, like battle sounds?
Yeah, so like just atmospheric wise and stuff, and like even down to like with the explosion stuff, so the hearing's gone a bit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All
And it's like
very-
people just getting like blown across corridors, and they're everyone's just bleeding, and they just sort of like there's a bit where like Rebecca Romaine, she's like, well, we've got like one bit of blood left because we can't turn the machines back on.
Can't turn them back on again.
Yeah, and she's just like, well, give it to the other person then.
Yeah.
Again, it's just that's how you'd want it.
Thinking, yeah. Starfleet. Also, good to see someone speaking sense. For the first 3 episodes, and obviously all the other Star Treks, it's let's be friends with everyone and let's be kind and blah blah blah. She's just like, you can't. They're evil. Just fucking kill them.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
but that's a very. It seems like a very selfish thing where she's just sort of like, I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
I know you want to try and talk to them or whatever, but you're not going to be able to because they will drag them all together in a big pile of blood and drag them away and feed them to their babies or whatever. And Pike's just like, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Shoot them. Shoot them immediately.
But I don't think other captains would have been. I think he is a lot more like open to the possibility that everything's not. Yeah, and he's listening to the crew.
Well, this is still a deep one. Yeah, but this is still their deep space mission. Yeah. So they're going out and doing things that people don't know. Like they are literally making first contact with all these species. So probably there's not like a rule as to like, oh, if you meet the Gorn, always run away.
Yeah, you've got to do this.
Yeah, so she's just sort of like, get the shields up, get the fuck out of here now.
Yeah.
And he's just sort of like, cool. No, I'm going to hail them first. Torpedo, torpedo, torpedo. Like, he's just sort of like, you seem really scared and I trust you, so let's get the fuck out of here, guys.
Just get going.
And then it's just battered after, like, and that, I think that was just really good. Like, you've got this incredible, beautiful looking ship, and then it's crippled like nothing. Instantly, it's just sort of like, oh, there's way more powerful ships out here than we are. Yeah. That's a real eye opener.
It seemed like far more underprepared than they expected.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's when it's just sort of like, okay, well, we haven't got the biggest gun, so you've got to outthink them. Like, they drop it, like, they fly the ship like that and then drop a torpedo out and blow it up.
That's all like you can do.
It's brilliant.
Like, just off the, like, say, you mentioned it before, but just the way that the ship moves, where it is almost like it's, like, I don't know, like
it's almost arachnid in a way.
Yeah, that's a way better way of what I was going to say. But obviously the Enterprise moves, and then it can go up a bit, and then it can go quickly. But that's just fucking all over the place instead, like erratic and stuff.
Yeah.
And just upon first seeing that, and she's just like looking through the window at it, and it's like, it's going to be a good episode.
But that's the thing though, like, and they've laid this whole thing out that like. So there's all these colonists on this planet, so they're going to go down there, they're going to kill a bunch of them, drag them out, feed them to babies or whatever, let the rest of them go away because a bigger fish will come in to save them, and the second that they're connected and their shields don't work anymore, we'll go and get them.
Yeah.
So it means that they're not just like mindless alien xenomorphs flipping about.
There's a lot of strategy.
Yeah, they're real clever. And that makes them even scarier.
That's the thing. The whole thing doesn't. That
ain't doing nothing.
We should never show bit that, to be honest.
But this is it, because like again, if they don't show them, and I kind of hope they don't want to. I kind of hope that they don't. If they did, I think it would be like, yeah, that's a scary monster alien thing that's flying that ship. Yeah. Sure.
They've got to go down.
Unless, if they went, no, fuck it. That's what they look like. That's what they're starting to look like. It's just
I like it if there was like
a giant Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle floppy.
What if they
floppy
used
headsuit.
that, but that was like a ploy? So from a distance, it looked like that looks like it could be a goal or something. And they get closer, it's like the fuck's this? And then it just rips it in half, and here's somebody inside of it.
Oh really?
Yeah. So you've got say it is a xenomorph. That's what they go with. You've got Barney the dinosaur looking stupid thing here, and they see it from a distance, and as they get closer, the xenomorph comes and rips it. That goes through. That would be awesome. Obviously, it won't happen because it's Star Trek.
I don't know how that would work.
They'd never do it unless they showed it off, so it was off screen, so you see it from the xenomorph's point of view.
But people wouldn't be going, "Oh my god, that's cool." They'd be like, "But that's what they look like."
Yeah, you've just killed the old one.
Yeah, why are you doing that?
Who's this guy?
I mean, unless you said, "Oh, that's just like that's when they get old, just before they die. That's what they look like."
Yeah, they
before
shed the skin.
they're like, "Oh, they're scary and creepy and."
No, they'd either have to not show it or drastically redesign.
But then you do it and you're just like, well, yeah, but we can't use that anymore. It doesn't fit the aesthetic anymore. Like it looked ridiculous.
It's the same down to the suits. The suits aren't the same as the suits that they used in the old ones.
Yeah, but again, it's close enough to it to be like, yep, I know what that
You
is.
could make that scary. Next thing, Dan. Once we finish this video, getting on a bit, so
It's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Maybe tomorrow or later, we're going to Photoshop that
And make it proper.
into a scary monster.
I want to see it like
We could
like
do it.
in Star Wars when you're flying like an X-wing or like a TIE fighter.
Yeah.
And he just cuts to like the stormtrooper's like scary helmet and he's just sort of like fiddling with buttons or whatever. I just want it to be that, but it's that head.
He's like,
Yeah, it's just this sort of like big flappy monster.
it's so Power Rangers. Awful. Fucking awful. Gunship, the actual gunship imploding looked really cool. When he went in, it goes in on itself and like crunches up. And
when it was like the gravity thing. Yeah, that was
looked
dead.
real.
When just the arms just go.
Yeah. Looked really, really, really good.
And like when they were
good
on that shuttlecraft and they just sort of like Morse code it and be like, oh no, humans are on board, and they're like, well, tough, bang, bang, bang.
Get me anyway, don't fucking get.
Yeah, it's literally just straight away, just like, nope, shoot him.
But again,
It's like Rick and Morty. It's just like, oh, it's a spy, blow him up. It's just shoot him now.
I never thought that we'd ever have a Rick and Morty Star Trek / horror monster thing reference. I don't know what. I'm not sure what bit comes from that because I just put some great camera shots, more horror. The gunship imploding looked really cool. Some actual deaths on the Enterprise.
What in the sickbay?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, like, it's not often shown, but it's usually just sort of like it's like casualty reports and stuff. So it'd be like, oh, someone sucker punched us.
It does happen.
Yeah, a lot. But that's the thing. It's usually sort of like 9 people killed or whatever.
Yeah.
It's only it's like if someone comes in for an episode, if they're going to get killed, you're going to see it.
Yeah.
Like they're going to get horrifically burned or whatever, and like
or melted and paralyzed.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, there was a bit of that in Discovery, like the first season of Discovery, where there was like a lot of body horror stuff in like one episode, but like all these bodies were like twisted up and mangled, which was like
strange things.
Kinda, like because like the whole thing is like this ship sort of like spins on itself and then like zips off, and it had like done it, but like all the stuff on the inside, like because there's like a protective field in essence that like keeps everyone like grounded, and when you go to warp, everyone doesn't get pasted across the fucking floor.
Oh yeah.
So there's
actually when it goes quick.
Yeah, so that fails or whatever, and every one of them is just sort of like spun up and like there's like ribs and stuff poking out, and I was just like, that's cool.
Nice.
I wasn't expecting that. Like that's a tone setter right there. That's real cool. But there's a lot of people that just sort of like there's a console that just explodes in their face. And there's loads of people just like pierce things and like stuff like that. So, but like the Doctor, I really like him, but I like the fact that they haven't really done much with him. And then he just sort of like, oh, I kept my daughter, like she's just digitized.
They're ready for it. And if you want to use it, crack
I can't believe it. It's just sort of like, right, firstly, that's so selfish. And secondly, you were going on a ship, going into deep space for 5 years, and you have no idea what you're going to deal with, and you're risking just putting her in, like saving her to a floppy disk, and just be like, that'll be fine.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. Is the more you think about it, the worse it is. At the time, you're just like,
I mean, I'm sure
How convenient.
he thinks about it, where he's just sort of like, oh well, I can keep her and save her. It's like it's like a Mr. Freeze situation.
Yeah.
I can just unfreeze her when I need to and treat her and blah blah blah. But when you go, yeah, but you're just like, firstly, does she know that's happening? Secondly, fuck the rest of the crew? And like, thirdly, I mean, to be again though, that has been done. Like, so Scotty, he like crashes on a Dyson sphere, which you also know what that is.
I know that.
You know what a Dyson sphere is now. But
podcastversusplayer.com/Callum Dan Play.
But they find a Dyson sphere in space, and they find a ship on it, and it's like an old ship.
Yeah.
And there's a transport that's like just continuously cycling, and then they like complete the transport, and it's Scotty. And they're like, that's how they go, well, you've been in there for 70 years and blah blah blah. So it's already been done that you can just sort of like stick someone like in, like, so it's like you beam them up,
like a cryo,
but instead of beaming them back down, you just sort of like put them into like a diagnostic cycle. So there's a way of doing it, so like, because like it's like a copier thing, so it's like over a certain amount of time it just degrades and you can't reassemble them, because like if a molecule is out of place,
so if it's been like 70,000 years,
the pattern will just lose. But I mean, that I don't mind the like the sort of weird science behind it. It's the right. So you're just taking your daughter. Just potentially one torpedo is just going to blow that. Gone.
Yeah, she doesn't got a say in it.
Yeah. So but again, that's more interesting. It's not. It doesn't feel like shoddy writing. It's like, oh,
no, it just makes it a bit.
It's another ethical dilemma.
Yeah.
But he's a doctor, so the ethics should be like he should be absolutely not wanting to hurt her.
No, but I think within the real world as well, ethically, especially with science, it's the doctors that are making those decisions to say what is ethically right.
True, but he hasn't gone, Captain, can I keep my daughter in a constant transport? Like, because like,
I think Pike could be pretty okay with it,
but maybe not after being lied to.
True.
Because if he's like, if you'd have come to me and asked me, or it could be like, if I'd have said no, you wouldn't have come aboard.
Yeah.
And I would have just got another doctor.
Yeah.
So you kind of fucked us all over. Because what if we're on desperate absolute life support and we haven't got barely any breathable air? What we have to just keep her going though, just so that,
just in case.
Not fair. And he would say, to save everyone else, we're turning it off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of
think about that.
There's a lot of ethical dilemmas going on here. But the actor's great.
Yeah, very good, very, very good. Obviously, it's not his fault, regardless what happens. And then all I've put really, just put Gorn breeding planet looked like really eerie and very cool.
The what, sorry?
The planet where the Gorn were breeding. So when Spock goes into a mine and stuff, it looked really fucking cool. That did.
Yeah.
And I just put best episode so far.
I
think it genuinely was.
I think between that and like maybe the Lightning Planet one. Because that, like you say, that was a lot of people just sort of out thinking a problem.
Yeah.
Like all of them are dealing with their own specific problem at that point, and they're all kind of out thinking it. But that one, in terms of just this ship just flying around, and it was like, is it like an action heavy kind of one? I don't think there'll be many of those.
No, I'm hoping.
Because like they got the absolute shit kicked out of them in that one. Like there was shit blowing up and probably another one or two, maybe a scuffle.
Yeah.
And another big fight. But I don't know how this is going to end, because again, like with Discovery, it's been, oh my god, there's a big thing, and we've got to stop the big thing, and the end of this season is the big thing being stopped or whatever. In this,
just that episode.
Well, no, but this is the thing. Traditionally in Star Trek, the end of the season is a crossover into the start of the second season. It's like a double episode.
So do you think this is going to end with Pike?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think Anson Mount is going to leave for a while, because from what I've just read in there, Kirk comes in about 11 years.
Yeah, he said it's over a decade away. He says in the show. When Spock asks him how long, and he said not soon. He says probably about a decade away.
Oh, what, from his weird death thing?
Yeah, he said seems a lot sooner when I say it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But again, you could go, okay, well, this isn't like week to week to week to week. It could be like, well, this is 1 year, this is year 2, year 3, year 6.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like I think they could do another season.
But then you could still get. Well, but I really like him.
I think they should do.
I think he's solid, and I think that whilst people enjoy him, and he's still small enough to be okay with doing it, but he's not big enough to be like, I'm going to go off and do bigger and better things.
Really, really high demand for Mission Impossible,
whatever
film, and Twilight.
Like then maybe you go, okay, well, maybe we start to like, how do we get Kirk in, sort of thing. So maybe, but I'd see that at least another 2 or 3 seasons. If I mean the ratings are there, it's just if
it's good,
the viewership is there. That's the problem.
Ratings mean nothing, Dan. My seal of approval is what is important. The fact that I'm sat here in a fucking uniform with a communicator, got me little
pips,
got me wig. It's incredibly itchy.
Vulcan wig, yep.
And I've watched 4 episodes of this excellent new Star Trek show.
And I'm very pleased that you like it.
Very, very good. Like, genuinely is. I'm not even like hamming it up.
Honestly, because as soon as I watched it, I was just like, I think I could actually get you to watch this and enjoy it as well.
It's real good.
So,
I'll be honest, you sold it less. So when we originally talked about it on the podcast, and you obviously, mostly because it was, there's no action, it's a lot of talking.
Yep.
It feels like the old ones. I'm like, these are all the reasons that I don't like Star Trek. But I agree, it is all of those things, but in a good way.
It's a very good middle ground.
And a good modernised way.
That's the thing I think about it. I think it's just like, if you were to take the kind of like the format of either the original series or maybe the Next Generation, and then you modernised it and you filmed it in a way that would still be true to its original way, but everything is more modern. Like the action is more modern, the ships look way better, like everything just looks cleaner and tidier and whatever. This is what you'd get, and I think this is why it's working so well. And I think that the next few episodes, again, it's just going to be bouncing from problem to problem to problem.
Yeah, for each one.
Yeah, but I think that you'll get to know each of the crew. They'll all have their own little story episodes. So, like, you know, we know that with Singh, we know that, okay, well, you know, you're this descendant of an augment, and, you know, you've had this running with the Gorn, and you've got some real serious problems because of it. And we know that number one, we know that you're this Illyrium or whatever it is. So, like, you're a superhuman, but probably won't focus on that too much.
I do think it is more of a, I don't know, like having the extras like that just seems to be, well, Worf was pretty strong.
Well, this is it. Like a Vulcan is, I think it's 4 times stronger than a human. So
what's stronger, a Klingon or a
I think
Vulcan?
It's debatable, but like Vulcans aren't really fighters. Like warriors, like from birth, are like raised and trained in like all manner of combat and battle and whatever. So I'd say I wouldn't want to be a Vulcan fighting one. But most species would batter us.
Yeah.
Unless you're very good. Unless you're a main character, then you can kick anyone's fucking face. It doesn't matter. Like Tom Paris gets like challenged by like a Klingon. It's just
who'd win between Pike and Picard?
Picard's kicked a few asses.
But he's getting on a bit.
Well, I mean, not now.
I mean, Picard in Picard.
What, this 76-year-old man?
No, obviously Captain Picard in Next Generation and Pike in Strange New World.
I reckon he'd talk him out.
Yeah.
Or I reckon Pike would be there like, go on, son. And after 20 minutes, he'd be like, do you know what? This is a really bad idea. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I came with this. I surrender. Yep, I'm not a captain anymore. I'm standing down. But do you reckon though that it's going to be like, because obviously you can't have anything from the future stuff unless there is
time travel,
which is rife.
Yeah.
In Star Trek, 100% is possible. But then that means that you'd have to recast all of them.
Yeah.
Because you could go.
Depends how they do it. What if they went into Picard?
That seems a bit forced.
Like they've gone real far into the future. I'll be honest. I think it's massively unnecessary for this season, at least. Anyway.
I think that if anything, you'd see more you'd see names noted and stuff like that. So in like Discovery, they mention like Captain Archer a lot, and he was the captain from the Enterprise series, and obviously from Next Generation of Voyager and Deep Space Nine, he's never mentioned because he wasn't written back then. But so I reckon that like in like maybe Picard season 3 or like in any more Discovery or whatever, like crew members
would show up
from like the helmsman would be like, it wouldn't just be like, because like Sulu hasn't popped up yet. So there's still
Dr.
a bunch
Zulu.
more. I've forgotten about that.
It's a very old reference from a video.
I bet you can find that and pop that in there.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But there's a lot of potential.
Dr. Zulu.
Bloop, bloop. Dr. Zulu, come in.
Fucking hell, what a video that was.
Idiot. I bet I could look through that and there's no fucking Dr.
They
Zulu.
will be
in
on there, I guarantee.
Yeah.
It's on my notes. But anyway, it was very good. We're going to wrap it up though, because we're approaching the 1.5 hour mark, Dan. But we've got episode 5 to watch.
Indeed.
And then potentially however many more, because I don't know how many there's going to be. I'm probably going to say 8.
I'd say probably 9 or 10 maybe.
Yeah.
Like that's like Discovery seems to be about 12 or 13 now,
Yeah.
I think. So I'm hoping that there's that many.
Well, I say we do this again once the season's finished.
I'm okay with that.
See how I still feel about it.
Yeah, I'd say either you're going to be like so into it and you'd be like, I cannot wait for a second season,
Which is
or
very
you'd be
high
like, do you know
potential.
what? It started strong and just sort of petered off.
It could happen.
Could happen.
A lot of shows do it.
And usually, and this is the weird thing, right? Because traditionally, in pretty much every series, the first season is usually the weakest.
Yeah.
Because
that's an indication.
Exactly. Because like usually like
This will be the new Stranger Things.
monsters and all.
Well, I mean, you've got 2 episodes so far.
Yeah. And that'd be great if it just like this is like the mirror universe where it's like everyone's got a little beard and they're evil. And then it's like, oh, and here's the upside down. That'd be great. Phases demigod like, no, fuck off.
I mean, that would be a crossover. That would definitely be a crossover.
You make a game out of that, I reckon. But does this maybe get you a bit more interested for Resurgence, I think it is?
No.
Like the Telltale.
No, I mean, to be honest, it's something that I'll look at, but
This isn't going to be set in that universe.
No.
Like, in that show, though, it'll be.
I think it's more. I don't know. I think I'm just more tolerable now of Star Trek than I used to be. I still massively prefer Star Wars, but I can appreciate. I've always appreciated Star Trek. I say I like Next Generation, and this could potentially be better than that for me. This could be my new Next Generation.
I mean, I think for a lot of people, this is. If they've kind of like you, like they've had sort of like general exposure, but nothing too crazy. If I don't know if they're looking at reviews or what people have said online or stuff like that, and they'd be like, oh, well, maybe I will get into this one.
Yeah.
Like I think there's enough sort of like diplomacy and critical thinking and philosophy and ethics and action to kind of go, oh, well, if this is what all the other ones are like, maybe it's not just for nerds from 40 years ago.
I mean, it still is, but I think that's the thing. Though, like there's no, I don't think the other ones are like this. I don't think I could watch this and go back and go, I'm going to start from the beginning and go back and watch Kirk and.
I mean, I'm tempted
everyone.
to just to be like,
Yeah, but you love Star Trek, though.
no, but I still recognise when it's not good.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, well, yeah, this is fine, but it's not as good as this. And like, I don't hate any of them. It's just sort of like Discovery. No, it's not as good as some of the old stuff.
Yeah.
But it feels like they've learnt their lesson, and they've gone, okay, well,
Massively so.
now we're going to, we'll look back up, or like it's like when I think it was like Coke did it when they said, oh, here's new Coke.
Yeah.
And people were just like, boo, give us the old Coke. So they purposefully released this one to like drive sales for
the other one.
Yeah.
It's smart. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Potentially Ugly Sonic.
I still think Ugly Sonic was a marketing ploy.
It's possible.
It worked massively well.
Oh, I'd love Ugly Sonic to be in one of those Gorn ships.
That'd be
getting
sick.
squished.
That would be good. That's why it moves so quick. That's why. And if you actually if you slow it down and watch it slow motion, you can see it. It's just too quick.
I bet there's no Sonic references in this book either.
There's no Ugly Sonic in there.
No.
But we're gonna leave it there, Dan. We're gonna beam ourselves out.
Beam out.
And I look forward to watching episode 5. I kind of wish we'd watched it prior to this, but obviously we didn't get a chance.
No, unlucky.
But we will, and then we will finish the season and see if I'm still a Star Trek fan.
Let's do it.
Excellent.
Thanks,
stuff.
everyone.
Live long and prosper.
Indeed. The Vulcan sex grip. Thanks, everyone. Right, morning, mate. What's the dealio?
That
What's
suspect is fleeing. That
Don't
one
worry.
in the skirt.
I see it. Right, jump out. Go.
Until the car's stopped.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Run!
I'm going.
Oh, Jesus.
Because you got to the shit car. Why don't we go to that car?
Because this one's faster, you fucking dipshit.
Well, traffic stop that requires taking care of.
Let's move.
Can't do anything, Dan. No, she's driving away and I'm stuck to the car. I can and I will.
Oh, I don't know, this feels like an abuse of police powers somehow.
Get your pants up. Dan, I can't get out of the car because you've parked it next
That's fine,
to...
I'll handle this, don't worry about it. Where? Who? Point him out.
I don't
Which
know.
one?
That person just jaywalked over there behind me.
Fuck's-
Go running by that green car.
Yeah.
Well, the joke's on you because I solved a crime. Oh, I can put my hat on, Dan.
What? How did you do that?